Welcome to Therapist Confidential, a psychotherapy.net podcast. And now, here's your host, Travis Heath.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Therapist Confidential podcast. I'm your host, Travis Heath. And today I'm pleased to be joined by Dr. Susan Heitler, psychologist, author, educator. This is the part, though, that has me most excited about Dr. Heitler's work. She has spent decades challenging conventional thinking and psychotherapy. And if you've listened to this podcast at all, you know that is something that I'm very interested in. So, in this conversation, we'll explore, hopefully, some ideas that may prompt therapists to rethink some common assumptions about individual therapy, conflict resolution, emotional regulation, and who knows where else we might go. Dr. Heitler, welcome to the podcast.
Absolutely my pleasure.
I'm wondering if you can begin, Dr. Heitler, by telling the folks a little bit about yourself and your work.
Myself and my work. Let me think for a minute. Well, what came to mind first when you ask about myself is this weekend, my husband and I celebrated our 55th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
What made it so special and fun is that more than half of our 16 grandchildren were there. And they are such fun. So in terms of who I am, for one thing, I'm someone who really believes in marriage, in family, in producing a next generation that's happy and healthy and emotionally skillful. So I knew they were emotionally skillful because they made me laugh so hard I was getting a stomach ache.
That's always a good sign.
Yeah.
And 55 years. Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a really, really long time. I hope I live 55 years, let alone I'm married for 55.
And I will say one other thing in terms of the 4 pregnancies involved in having kids, and then our kids kind of did the same thing. I get pregnant with ideas, and those are the ideas you were talking about. And then once I'm pregnant, when you're pregnant, you got to get rid of those ideas somehow. So I've written maybe 6 books and over 300 blog posts on Psychology Today. It's, when you get pregnant with ideas a lot, it locks you into a lot of writing.
I love that description. I've literally never heard that description. And yeah, that's a lot of writing for sure. And you're still at it. I mean, you've
Yes.
been writing books here recently, some of which we'll get into. Okay, you mentioned like marriage and family and that this is something that's important to you and that you're interested
Yes.
in. I mean, in your personal life, but also in your work as a clinician. So let me see if I've got this right. Correct me if you think this is unfair. But from what I've read, you've argued that treating a married person in individual therapy without involving their partner can sometimes create ethical concerns or maybe even increase the risk of harm. Is that a fair summarization of your position?
Beautifully articulated. Thank you, Travis.
Now, okay, thank you. I just want to make sure I had it right.
Yeah.
I want to start here. What led you to question what I would say is a common practice of treating married clients individually without involving their partners? Because that just seems to be something that's done by most therapists in individual therapy without giving it a second thought.
Correct. I think there were several cases that helped me realize the importance of integrating some individual work, some couples work, and the proportion depended on what's coming your way, what the couple needs. So I will say there are some couples where I've never seen them as individuals. There are other couples where the bulk of the treatment is individual therapy. And many couples are primarily couple therapy. And sometimes each needs some individual sessions to focus in on something within them.
Yes, can you help us begin to understand a little bit your thought process there? Like, What are the sorts of situations that you recognize that a partner may need to be involved more and maybe involved not so much in other circumstances?
Okay. I'll give you one that's very much on my mind. This is such a lovely woman, and it was quite a long time ago, and it had a big impact on me. This woman came in for a grief reaction. What was she grieving? Her husband had suicided. What does his suicide note say? I'm going to change the names, obviously.
Yeah.
It said, every week when you come home from your individual therapy session, you're so excited about Dr. Tom, the way he listens to you, the way he understands you, the way he helps you see things in a new way. I'm afraid I just can't match up to him.
Wow.
So is it possible that someone who's an excellent therapist, which I'm sure Dr. Tom was, is inadvertently doing terrible harm? And this woman loved her husband. It never would have dawned on her that she was hurting him by being in individual treatment and talking about it.
Yes, and to lean into this a little bit more, I mean, what's your sense of the specific harm or harms that may have been occurring there?
He felt that he was no longer as good as this other man in her life. And she was so excited about him and so appreciative of him. And she never talked that way to him about him. I'm not sure I'm answering the question,
No.
but the bottom line is it's a very intense, special relationship. If it's a male therapist with a female patient or vice versa, the risks of too much affection for the client having too much affection for their therapist can be quite high. Here, Dr. Tom had no idea, and he had no way to find out. And even if he had had a way to tell her, there would have been no remedy. If he'd been periodically coming to sessions with her, and if he felt he could at any point give a call to Dr. Tom, "Hey, I'd like to schedule a session. I've been really depressed lately," would have been a whole different ballgame.
Yes. And of course, each therapist works a little bit differently, but what are the sorts of things that you could imagine in session that Dr. Tom could have been doing with the husband that may have, or the relationship itself, that may have taken this in a different direction?
Great question. It could be that if they came in as a couple and I could see there was something missing in their relationship, I'd, number one, make sure the relationship was good and strong. Number two, see what's going on with him. Clearly, he was depression prone. Clearly, his self-confidence was not where it needed to be. So if I had been working with both of them, then you end up with two healthy people. That's a formula for a really great marriage.
What would you say to people? And I think a decent amount of folks in our field would say this. I think, always
Yeah.
dangerous to assume, but that it would be like, well, if he has his own challenges and distress in the world, he should get his own individual therapist. I think that's often what people would say because there's this delineation, it seems, in the field. There's couples therapy and then there's individual therapy. So it would be like, well, is Dr. Tom their individual therapist or is he their couples therapist? And if the husband's struggling, he should go get his individual therapy. I mean, I'm wondering if you can walk us through some of those structures that the field seems to have and how you make sense of those.
You are 100% accurate in describing what's probably the bulk of the field of psychotherapy, particularly for individual therapists. There's a concept of separate silos. Either you're a couple therapist or you're an individual therapist. Then, even worse, there's a misunderstanding of the idea of dual relationships. No therapist wants to be accused of dual relationships. There was a wonderful article, though. The article said that there's a very important point about not having dual relationships. In other words, you don't want to be a business advisor or even worse, a business partner and simultaneously be that person's therapist. Those are two very different roles. By contrast, if I'm his therapist and her therapist and their therapist, I'm just a therapist. It's the same role all around.
Hmm.
Now, there have been excellent articles clarifying that. At the same time, between the publication of an article and the dissemination of that understanding comes the gap. So when I'm giving talks out at various conferences and I ask who thinks it would be a violation, an ethical violation, if I saw the husband as well as the wife, most hands
Right.
immediately would go up. Oh, no, don't do that. Unfortunately, it's very easy to be self-righteous and certain about ethical principles that we're misunderstanding or that are misleading. And that is a primary one.
Yeah, that's fascinating. This idea that of dual relationships, because you're right. I mean, being accused of being unprofessional or having dual relationships is probably
Oh,
two of the biggest things that clinicians want to avoid, right? But
absolutely.
yeah, your point though about how you're a therapist all the way through, so it's the same
Right.
relationship, is an interesting
Right.
one. I hadn't thought about it quite like that before, and it does make me wonder: are there specifical ethical principles that you think are most relevant when deciding to include a partner in treatment planning, or in the ways that you actually go about doing it?
Absolutely. The core principles of ethics are beneficence and non-maleficence. In other words, maximize the good that you are doing and be careful you're not doing harm. So both of them are enhanced if you have access to both partners. So take the principle of maximizing beneficence. If I'm working with, let's give that fellow who was depressed because of his wife talking so much about Dr. Tom, let's give them names. Let's call them Betty and Bob.
All right.
Okay. If Betty and Bob are both in the room and I ask Bob, so how are you feeling about the individual work that Betty's been doing? And he says, actually, I'm quite depressed. I get very demoralized. I would want to work right away. There's a basic principle there. I go by feelings first. If a feeling comes up, we focus on that right away. So I might do a treatment for depression immediately. I have a visualization treatment. I don't want to go into the details of that because that'll get us off. I have a TEDx talk on it. So if people Google my name and TEDx and depression, they can find it. It's a fun technique. So if I'm doing this technique and it takes maybe 5 minutes, what's Bob's wife doing? What's Betty doing? She is getting what one of my clients used to call fly on the wall therapy.
Hmm.
All of a sudden, she has a whole different depth of understanding of her husband by watching his therapy. The same would be true if Bob is there when Dr. Tom is doing his excellent work with Betty.
Yeah, interesting. Now, is with Betty and Bob, so the way that traditional psychotherapy looks at this, Betty is the client, right?
Right.
And then Bob, is Bob a client, or where's Bob is Bob a consultant? Like, how do you make sense of who Bob is relative to that therapeutic relationship?
Absolutely. This is where a systems perspective makes a big difference. Your client is Betty, your client is Bob, and your client is their relationship.
Mm,
In other words, each individual is a subsystem of the larger couple relationship. I don't usually work with the kids as well because, on the whole, As parents get healthier, kids get healthier. At least, though, the couple needs to be two healthy individuals interacting in a healthy way. That gives you a healthy marital and family system.
Are there particular, what psychotherapy might call presenting problems that Betty might have that including Bob could be especially risky for?
Including would be risky.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that
I got
you might say, "You know what? I just have to work with Betty. I can't bring Bob into this, or it would be especially risky for me to bring Bob into this."
There certainly are times where I would want to work alone with Betty because Betty, for instance, may have, for instance, been molested as a child, and she's not ready to let her husband know about that.
Mm.
She's barely letting it come to her own awareness. So it may be that she'll say, I want to talk with you alone. Or one case where a man was having an affair and he didn't want his wife to know and he couldn't seem to get out of the affair. So that's an example. Another example that comes to mind right away is a client who was very defensive. You could call him narcissistic, and never wanted to admit to anything that he had done wrong or that he even had a temper problem. At one point, we scheduled an individual session, and he said, I just can't admit it in front of my wife. And at the same time, I do have a real anger problem.
Mm.
Until someone acknowledges they have a problem, it's pretty hard to do anything about it. Interestingly, as he left the session, he said to me, "You know what? I'm going to go home and talk to my wife about this."
Yep. It's interesting because I think that is more often the route that therapists take, which is like if something comes up in an individual session that may impact the relationship or that the therapist and maybe the therapist and client together are thinking it might be worth the partner knowing about, then the person goes home themselves and has that conversation, right? As opposed to the partner actually coming into the therapeutic relationship. But I think what you're saying here, which is important for people listening to this, if they were going to consider taking up this practice that you're proposing, is that you don't just bring in the partner no matter what all the time. There's a certain discernment that's going on that seems really important. And I don't want that nuance to get lost in the conversation. You are a proponent of
100%.
bringing partners in, but there's discernment on your part about when and how.
Right. So the first place where that discernment, I like that word, has to take place is when they first call me. So for years, my secretary would say, "Dr. Heitler's policy is," that's a very important phrase, by the way, you can get away with a lot. "Dr. Heitler's policy is I know you're calling for individual therapy. She wants her clients to bring in the partner for the first session." And most people say, "Oh, how lovely." There'll be some people who say, "No." So then discernment comes in. Would you like an example of one that's on my mind?
I'd love it.
Okay. So this is a recent client. She called and she said, "No, I don't want to bring him in, or at least I don't mind bringing him in eventually. For the first session, I want to see you alone." Something about that. I don't know why. It just, I didn't want to flex on my policy. So I said, "How about if you bring him? He'll sit in the waiting room and you'll have the first third of the session." I do 60-minute hours. So I'll work along with you for the first 20 minutes. I'll work along with him for the next 20 minutes. And then by seeing the two of you interact together, I'll get a more full picture. First 20 minutes, she agreed to that reluctantly, and she agreed. So she came in, lovely woman, delightful, fun to talk with. She said, "I have a terrible problem. My husband is financially abusive. It's so bad that he only gives me a small amount of money each month, and he won't let me use a credit card. He's so controlling. So what's the therapist going to respond? What would your response be?
What would my response be? And if
Yeah.
I'm speaking just to her, correctly?
Right.
I would want to, my response would be trying to understand more about those dynamics. Like I'd lean into the dynamics and be curious about how she's experiencing this as abusive. What are the specific actions and what are those impacts on her life?
Okay. Sounds good. 20 minutes is up. And I'm totally convinced that she probably is going to need a divorce. That's not a viable
Hmm.
way to live with a partner.
Yep.
And I'm thinking if he's that controlling financially, I bet he's really controlling in lots of other ways.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He comes in, lovely guy, almost on the verge of tears. He says, Dr. Heitler, I don't know what to do. My wife, let's call her Loretta, has put us in $200,000 worth of debt.
Mm-hmm.
She did this once before, and for the last 5 years, I've been working so hard to get us out of that debt. We're finally almost paid back, and now she started doing it again. She just buys and buys. It's a habit. I love her, and I'm just so stressed. I don't know what to do. What's your reaction?
Speaking to him now, I mean, the first thing I do is probably similar to what I do with her. I lean in and want to understand the impact of this on his life and what specifically is happening. Now, of course, as I'm putting the story together, obviously now there's more context to the story that she was telling, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think what's interesting about this too, and I want to hear what happened when you brought both of them together in a moment, because that seems where the rubber hits the road, as they say in your approach. But I do think one thing therapy's at risk for, and I guess I'll say individual therapy. I need to think this through more with couples or whatever. But I do think in individual therapy, sometimes we lean too much towards validating people's experiences rather than
Oh,
understand them.
you are so right. There's
Mm.
wonderful research. William Doherty,
Mm-hmm.
did a fairly recent study of this and identified the standard phrases that individual therapists use toward the goal of being empathic
Mm-hmm.
that
Right.
inadvertently can bring on a divorce. Oh, yeah, like I was doing that with that woman,
Mm-hmm.
Loretta. Oh, that sounds really abusive.
Right.
Ho how small an amount of money? And you have to somehow scrimp and pay for all the kids' clothes with that?
Yeah.
I'm empathizing with her,
Mm-hmm.
which is reinforcing. Okay, so you want me to fast forward?
Yes, I'm really interested to hear now what happens when you bring both of them together.
When I see the 2 of them interacting, I see another side of her. She's nice at first, and then she's quick to flare up, and I'm thinking, "Ooh, there's more going on here than I thought." I also see that he doesn't stand up for himself.
Mm-hmm.
So I realize it must have taken a lot of terror for him to impose these financial controls on her. So then, fast forward 2 sessions later,
Mm-hmm.
he begins to see that I'm not buying her story. So she drops out of treatment.
Mm.
Fortunately, he stayed in treatment. We worked on where he became a puppy dog like that, what's really going on, a whole lot of different things. What did she do? She went and found another therapist who would buy her story, who saw her just individually and helped her to do what she wanted to do, which was to get a divorce and get as much money as possible out of him because he was, quote, abusive. And a therapist who would buy the story enough to testify, oh, yes, this is definitely an abusive man, which was the trap I myself would have fallen into if I didn't have that policy that he has to come in the first session.
Mm.
What's your reaction?
I think that's a fascinating example because, and it's a nice reminder of how stories are multifaceted and nuanced, and they any story worth listening to, anyways, or reading, has multiple dynamic characters that are involved within a complex context, right? And too often, I think we get stories that are flattened and linear, right? And often
What do you
those,
mean by flattened and linear?
I just mean, like, first of all, I do want to say there are, and I'm sure you would agree with me, many examples in the world, unfortunately, where abuse is happening, whether by finances or
Absolutely.
by other methods, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes we flatten a story by just sticking to a single storyline without looking at the complexity and the nuance of the situation that surrounds it,
Absolutely.
right? And so for me, and I'm more narratively inclined, so it's probably why I'm thinking of it this way, but what's being revealed to me is a more complex story, a more complicated story with
I
far more
love it.
nuance.
Right. And as a therapist, my job is to get a full picture of her,
Mm,
which out to be a picture of someone with borderline personality disorder,
mm,
coupled with a willingness to lie,
mm,
which I don't see as generally being part of borderline, but borderline can overlap
mm,
with, I don't know what you want to call it, but someone who's willing to lie.
mm.
And also an extraordinary amount of narcissism. She wasn't thinking about what's good for the kids. She wasn't thinking about him. It's all about her.
Mm.
And basically, she wanted a man that would make more money than her poor husband that was just striving to get rid of all the debt that they were under.
Yes.
Uh, Now, if we look at him, he also had a full story. There were reasons why, from a fairly early age, he didn't see his own specialness and talents and capability. So therapy helped him to come into his own.
Mm.
So individual treatment helps people unpack their individual stories. In addition, there's a story around the couple. How is it that they allowed this situation to deteriorate so badly that that she was able to get him into $200,000
Mm.
worth of debt
Mm.
for a normal middle income person is pretty scary. So yeah, so my point about seeing both is you get the full story of each individual and the story of what goes on when they try interacting.
Yeah, I really appreciate that example. Before I move on to another topic with you, I know there's an article being released very soon that you've written about what we've been talking about. Do you mind telling
Exactly.
folks what the article is, where they can find it?
It's called Practice Innovations is the name of the journal. I just happen to have it here.
Oh,
Uh,
beautiful.
Ethical Risks in Conducting Individual Therapy with a Married Client, the Case for New Standards of Care.
And that's coming out soon, right? Do I have that right?
Yes, I think in a matter of weeks.
Okay.
By yeah, very soon. And it will be open access.
Okay.
So if they find it on the web, they can download it totally.
Fantastic. So another aspect of your work that is interesting to me is your stance on compromise and your view that compromise can sometimes or maybe even often be a mistake. And to me, this is interesting because I think many therapists, and I actually don't just think it's therapists, it's probably more of a cultural ideal. Folks believe that compromise is how you do healthy conflict resolution. Yet you've argued that compromise doesn't always necessarily lead to the best solution. So I'm wondering if I can start here by asking you, why do you believe compromise can sometimes or even often be overrated?
Yes. Compromise is probably better than continuing to fight with one dominating over the other. In other words, a win-lose situation leaves someone resentful or depressed. And fighting is also not good. Just fight, fight, fight. So probably compromise which is win some, lose some for both people, beats either lose-lose, or that's another variety where let's just not talk about it, and both people will lose. The good news is there's a pathway to win-win. So if both people are willing to go along that pathway, which requires being responsive to the other person's concerns, you can come up with a great solution.
I want to lean into this to understand it a little bit more. What would you say is the difference between compromise and win-win conflict resolution?
I'll give you an example.
Yep.
Max is looking for a car to buy for his daughter as a wedding present. He doesn't have a lot of money. He really wants one. He sees his neighbor, Charlie. So Charlie has a sign on his car, for sale. Perfect. How much is it? Charlie says $5,000. It's a bargain. Max says, well, that probably is a bargain because that's such a nice car, but I can only afford at the very most $3,000. So if they split the difference, neither gets a viable solution. Max doesn't have that extra $1,000. Charlie really needed the full 5,000 for whatever in his life, and it's going to kind of spoil their relationship because now it just was mutually unsatisfying. So how do you do win-win? Want to give a try at it?
How do you do a win-win there? I don't know. I'm going to have to defer to your expertise because I think I would, to be honest with you, I have my skepticism about compromise, but I think that's the direction I would lean because I don't know if I know of a better way. So help me understand what would be a win-win here?
Yeah. If Max asks Charlie, how come you want 5,000? And Charlie says, I have a big bill coming up. My wife was sick, and I know it's going to be $5,000 that I'm going to have to pay over above my insurance. That's why I'm selling the car.
So now there's a greater understanding of what's at stake.
Right. And then Charlie asks Max, how come you can only pay 3,000? And Max says, well, I managed to save every month $500. And I've saved enough to pay $3,000. That's 6 months of savings. And that's all I have. What's a win-win?
Oh gosh. I don't know.
Well, Max has an idea. You want him to tell you?
Yes, please, Max, help me out.
Yes. Max gets a light bulb. He says, wait, I do save $500 each month. How about if I give you 3,000 now,
Right.
and
Hey,
over the next 4 months, I'll give you 500 each month.
sure.
They hug. It's a deal.
Mm.
Because Charlie says, I don't need the full 5,000 right now. It's probably going to be 6 months before the full hospital bill comes to me. It's perfect.
So let me see if I've got this right. Compromise might have been Max wants 5,000, Charlie can only pay 3,000. Well, maybe we compromise and say 4,000, which doesn't
Right.
serve any person completely. But if I'm hearing you correctly, at the heart of this win-win first is really trying to gather a deep understanding of the other person's position and why what like the
Exactly.
context of that position and why they're wanting what they're wanting.
You nailed it. So I have terms for those.
Yes.
I like to use the word initial position or the initial plan of action.
Yes.
So the hardest is step 1, which is to recognize when there is a conflict, or another synonym for conflict is a problem to solve or a decision. or a dilemma. Step 2, though, is to, instead of fighting my way, no, my way, no, my way, both sides drop down a level and say, what are your concerns? What are my concerns? That's what Max and Charlie did so nicely. Max put out on the table, so did Charlie. Then it's win-win, not because either person got their initial suggested plan of action. It's win-win in that the underlying concerns of both people were responded to in the solution.
Yes, I'm wondering what you've observed over the years are the largest impediments to this working for people, right? Because
Right.
you lay it out so nicely, but I imagine this is foreign to a lot of folks. So I'm wondering what
Absolutely.
commonly gets in the way of this.
Number one, people never heard about that option. Oh, let's list both of our concerns and list them in one line, like bullet points, because any concern of yours is immediately a concern of mine. And any concern of mine is also a parameter for you. So if you don't know that there's an alternative pathway, then either people take turns. Okay, this time we'll do it I'm thinking couples now. This
Yeah.
time we'll do it your way. Next time we'll do it my way. Not a great option. Or let's meet in the middle, find a compromise, which nobody's completely happy with. So the main impediment, to go back to your very good question, impediment number one, it's people didn't know there's that option.
Yeah.
Impediment number 2, though, is also important. In order to go down that pathway, both people have to have good, safe, collaborative dialogue skills. A lot of therapists, certainly most couples therapists, though, probably have a good idea, at least about you messages versus I messages.
Sure.
I think as soon as someone uses a you message, the tone changes and the emotional tone becomes defensive or aggressive. Once you're into an argumentative tone or defensive tone, the odds that you'll end up with a win-win solution drop, drop, drop.
Yep. So it's not just what's said in the conversation, but it's also how it's said, the spirit of the
Perfect.
conversation.
Well put. The spirit and the skills.
Mm. What skills do you think most people are lacking that allow them to arrive at win-win resolutions?
What skills do people need to get there? Number one, you need to be able to talk about yourself. That's I messages. Gee, I feel anxious about, my concern is, I would like to, as opposed to, well, you think that, or I want you to. So learning to talk about yourself or ask about the other. Number 2, it helps if they know how to ask good questions. Good questions start with one of 2 words, what or how. They're the journalist's questions, because they bring forth lots of information. You ask great questions, they need to come listen to you
Yeah, I appreciate
as
that.
a model of good questions.
Yes, I think I ask decent enough questions in this context. However, if I'm in a conversation like any other human where I feel hurt or I'm feeling emotionally activated in some way, I would imagine my ability to ask those questions decreases, right? And so that leads me to my next question. When someone is under stress or feeling emotionally hurt or wounded, I mean, I think even if we're capable of asking good questions, we may struggle to do so. Do you have any tips about helping people through that and getting them back to a place where they can ask decent enough questions?
I have what I call the 6 safe sentence starters.
Mm,
One of them, the first one is, I feel or I felt, and that can be combined with a when you or when whatever. So if somebody can say, I'm feeling very sad right now, hopefully the partner knows to ask a good question in response. What about?
Yeah.
So if people can talk about their emotions, then their emotions don't get in control of them. They can stay in control.
Yeah. All right. This is fascinating. If people are interested in learning more about this, have you written about compromise? I'm sure you have. Any specific
You are
resources you
so
might
right.
direct people to?
Well, I think I'd recommend that they start with the book Prescriptions Without Pills.
Great
Uh,
title, Prescriptions Without Pills.
yes, and the subtitle is For Relief from Depression, Anger, Anxiety, and More.
There you go.
Yeah, included in that, the last chapter is how to sustain well-being and good relationships. The information on how to resolve conflicts in a win-win way is there.
Beautiful. There's one last topic I want to cover with you today.
Yeah?
So you have this idea called the hand map, and
Yeah.
probably from what I mean, you've written a ton, so I can't know all of your work, but it seems like maybe one of the more practical kind of teaching sorts of tools that you have. And the way that I made sense of this is that perhaps it's a simple way, a relatively simple way of understanding how one's mind might work under stress. So I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about this hand map and how you developed it and what you hope people might get out of it.
Sure. I'm absolutely delighted. Okay. I hate to admit that I like to make bad jokes, but the bad joke is, oh, let's use my handout. Put your hand out. And here I put my hand out. That's the handout. I was in front of you.
I see.
Sorry. That's
Yes.
the bad joke. The good news is everybody who's listening to this can put their hand out in front of them and it will help. Now, take your other hand and starting from your elbow, walk your fingers down toward your wrist. Oh no, my finger just hit a bump. Where my arm hits my hand, there's this bump at my wrist.
Mm,
From that point forward, oh, there's 5 possible pathways, 4 finger pathways, and a thumb. Okay, so when we're walking down the road of life and we hit a bump can be a problem, an upsetting incident, a conflict, any kind of bump. We know we hit a bump because we have a negative emotional reaction initially.
hmm
Okay, so where do we go from here? Let's make up a bump. You want to give me a bump or you want me to make one?
Ooh, a bump. Gosh, there's so many bumps. Okay. I have too much to do and I don't have enough time to do it.
I love that because it shows that it can be an intra-psychic conflict,
Mm, hmm
or it could be an interpersonal conflict between you and someone else, or it could be a conflict, a bump that has to do between you and a circumstance.
mm,
I'm so excited about going on this trip and I got sick and it's contagious, so I can't go on the trip.
mm, hmm
Okay, so those are the 3 realms where bumps happen.
Yep.
Or we can call the bump a conflict or a dilemma.
hmm
So now we're dovetailing with what we talked about before, conflict resolution.
Yep.
So let's look at what our options are when we hit a life bump, a problem. Uh, how did you say it? I have a lot of work to
I
do
have
and
I have too much work to do and I don't have enough time in the day to do it.
okay. I have too much work to do and I don't have enough time. So if I go along the first finger route, that's the anger route, I can start saying to myself, you know what, Petunia, well, let's call our person Petunia. Petunia, you're such an idiot. You can't say no. You take on too much. You're just too this, too that.
Yes.
You can get mad. That's anger road.
hmm
Second option, you can take the second finger, which is instead of fight road, it's fold road. Oh, well, I guess I'm just going to have to fail at the work that I promised I would do.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm so depressed that I didn't succeed. So fold, giving up on something you want, folding on that is the road to depression. Third option. So I'm bringing my finger back to that bump on my wrist and now running it to the third finger. That's freeze road. What'll I do? What'll I do? What'll I do? What feeling are you going to feel there? Oh no. What'll I do? I have too much to do.
I would feel frozen and helpless. I would feel um, in a perpetual state of anxiety, I guess.
You nailed it. That's freeze. What freezes is your thinking. So you may be walking and talking, but by frozen thinking, you're not doing any problem solving. So it perpetuates anxiety. When we see a bump initially, hit a bump, we'll tend to have some momentary anxiety or anger or whatever. If you take one of those first three finger roots, you're going to either take fight road and be angry, take fold road and feel depressed, take freeze road, what'll I do? What'll I do? And the problem is still there, so it perpetuates anxiety.
Mm.
Oh, there's the baby finger. I don't want to feel any of those negative feelings, so I'm going to stop off at the bar and have a drink.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That's the flee.
Okay.
And interesting obsessive compulsive disorders as well as addictions tend to be escapes, the flee road, from having to deal with that problem. I still have too much to do and I still don't have enough time to do it. Only, hey, I'll hang out at the bar with my friends, whatever, or just get drunk enough that it doesn't bother me anymore,
Yep.
or take some drugs, whatever. The good news, what's left? What option is left?
We have the thumb, right?
You got it. Okay, so
I'm eager to see what the thumb.
oh,
results here.
the thumb root does conflict resolution, problem solving, just like what we talked about earlier. Step one in conflict resolution is usually to define, get clear what the problem is. Step two is to gather information. And then step three is to come out with a plan of action. And once you have a plan of action for a problem, even if you haven't solved the problem yet,
Mhm.
there tends to be a sense of a return of well-being. And that goes
Interesting.
again for an internal conflict or dilemma, for a problem between two people, or even between you and a situation, illness, not enough money, whatever.
Yeah. So if I'm hearing you right, just the act of creating and having a plan itself provides peace of mind.
You got it.
Yeah. An interesting model and easier than actually having an actual handout, not your hand out, but giving someone a handout. I mean, they could lose it, or in the modern world, I mean, who wants to print things on paper, or whatever. You literally just use your hand. I'm
Right.
wondering, in closing on this, is this something you found useful, like working with people in your sessions where you
Oh,
literally have
absolutely.
them hold out their hands? And what sort of success have you noticed with this?
It's a very big relief to anybody to have a map. So if they are understanding now, oh, that's why I go down anger road, because I'm trying to get my way. I do fight road. Or, oh, that's why I feel depressed. I gave up on something I really wanted, or I lost something I really wanted, like a grief reaction. So understanding feelings, first of all, makes them more manageable. Second of all, the hand map guides people to go back to the problem. Let's take a deep breath, get calmed down, get rid of the worst of the anger. Take a deep breath so you're not so anxious and your frontal lobes are operating again. and then take the thumb root. So people like it because first it gives them an explanation for why feelings have come up in any given situation. And second, a plan of action on what to do and what not to do.
And is there a place you'd recommend folks check out in your writing to learn more about the hand map?
The hand map is the basis of prescriptions without pills. It goes through each of those 4 finger roots and a lot of detail on how to recognize the traps on those roots and how to get back and solve the problem.
Beautiful. Dr. Susan Heitler, I've enjoyed our conversation. I love, as I said at the outset, ideas that might be a little bit different than what people are currently using in the field that challenge convention. I think that's just so necessary because otherwise we become stale and our work becomes stale.
Absolutely.
And we have to have folks and ideas that are pushing us beyond the way that we've commonly thought. And all too often, I think, folks in our field, and it's not just our field, but I'll speak for our field since I'm a part of it. They go through graduate school and they get out in the world and they may not, unless they take intentional steps, they may not have their ideas challenged. They may practice with the same ideas that they've had for 30, 40 years without incorporating new ideas that challenge the basis of what we thought was accurate. So I really appreciate you taking the time to share these with us today. And
Thank you.
I could go on for another hour quite easily along some of these ideas. So maybe you and I will have to have a second conversation here in the months to come.
That sounds delightful to me. I would so much enjoy it. For me, I do a lot of podcasts and interviews, that kind of thing. And it's very exciting for me to be with someone who really knows the field. Clearly you do. And it's great at asking good questions. So I really thank you. This has been fun for me.
I appreciate that. We'll welcome you back soon. Enjoy your summer, would you?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Take care of yourself.
Thank you.